Welcome to the driver's seat. You are looking at the 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQE. You've been seeing EQ probably on the back of some Mercedes-Benz vehicles. Those are the fully electric vehicles. That's kind of their branding, much like Ioniq is Hyundai's electric branding. And E represents the E-Class, which is the midsize of the sedans. You have the C-Class, E-Class, and S-Class. And the EQS is already out. That's the flagship electric sedan. And this is the EQE. And we are blown away. So if this is the replacement for the E-Class sedan, I think they've done a great job. And it all starts with this one bow cab forward design. As you can see, look at this shape. It's very aerodynamic, much like the Hyundai Ioniq 6. That vehicle has a coefficient of drag of 0.22, which is the best in the industry. And this one is not far off from that. And that allows the air to come over the top and have a place to basically exit the rear of the vehicle, making it much more efficient. There's a lot going on underneath as well to let the air flow. And why is this important? Well, to make an electric car efficient, and this is very efficient, over 300 miles of range, you need the vehicle to be aerodynamic and you need it to be light. And this vehicle does both of those things quite nicely. There's an EQ350 rear-wheel drive and then a 4MATIC version. So the two-wheel drive starts at $75,000. And what you look at here is the EQE500 that only comes in the 4MATIC, and talking about $90,000 to $100,000 depending on which packages. This one's over $100,000. But it is beautiful in my opinion. I love the technology inside and out. I like the design, and even though I'm not all in on electric vehicles yet, I can tell you 3 of the last 4 vehicles I've received a review have been electric vehicles, and 3 years ago it would have been 1 out of 10. So things are changing rapidly in this industry, and Mercedes is like many of the other German car companies, extremely aggressive. I say that because in Germany, even though they sell cars all over the world, but in Germany, they have one of the most aggressive and stringent mandates to go all electric. And so they're not wasting any time. That's why you're going to be seeing Audi, Porsche, BMW, Volkswagen, and of course Mercedes introduce more and more electric vehicles as time goes by. And by the end of this decade, it'll be easily the majority, if not the entirety of their lineup. I'm glad that Mercedes-Benz stuck with a proper trunk design as opposed to a hatchback, because after all, every E-Class sedan ever made, with the exception of the wagon, had a proper trunk or boot. But what I like about this one, because of this design, this higher roof line, you can put much taller things. This trunk is much deeper than traditional trunks. And that's the result of packaging, also because of the battery packs. There's no fuel tank. A lot of trunks might have the fuel tank take up some of the space in the backs. You can't go as lower. Also, spare tire, things like that you just don't have anymore on modern day vehicles. So plenty of storage space in the trunk of the EQE. Great design. I can't wait to see the rest of the EQ lineup. I'm sure there'll be an EQC for C-Class. And even though the C-Class is kind of has always been the entry-level sedan into Mercedes-Benz, the S-Class is the top of the line, the flagship. The E-Class is the one that really, I think, matters, because that's the one people keep and come back to the longest. I feel like this view might give you a better perspective of what the driver sees. Mercedes has dramatically reduced the layers of their infotainment system. So this is the latest and greatest version of the MBUX, which is their infotainment system, and it's clean. It's very user-friendly. It's interactive. It's very kind of Tesla-like. I hate to compare Mercedes-Benz to Tesla, but this kind of portrait style screen is something we're seeing on more and more vehicles. and I think Mercedes nailed it. If you remember a few years ago, they were going with this one piece that was, I think, 30 inches wide, and that's great, but I think this is better. It allows for a more seamless integration into the storage area where the cup holders are. Plenty of USB-C ports, 2 up top, 2 below, some in the rear. Just a lot of nice features. You can see from the EQS to the EQE how they've differentiated the models, and I expect much of the same with the EQC when it comes out. Mercedes-Benz is a car company that was ingrained in diesels and sedans for decades, and then they made that migration like everyone else into crossovers and SUVs, and now they're making another transition into electric vehicles. And I'd have to say, of the 3 premium German brands, BMW, Audi, and Mercedes, I think, and of course Audi's a subset of Volkswagen Group, I think Mercedes is executing the best right now. Mercedes-Benz did an excellent job of separating the various driving modes. So we're in Eco right now, and you can feel it. It's being a little more aggressive in the regen braking. And then you have Comfort, which is going to be the default mode every time you start up your EQE. Then you have Sport and Individual, which allows you to customize it to what you like, from throttle response, suspension, and steering. The vehicle is very well balanced because of the low center of gravity. You don't feel a lot of body roll. It's a nice stiff chassis. Boy, this vehicle is impressive, and I like the styling, which is kind of like what Hyundai is doing with the Ioniq 6. This vehicle is also very, very aerodynamic, but what they've done is raise the roof so it's spacious like a crossover, but it's really a sedan. I would say for the past 5-10 years, Mercedes is easily one of the leaders when it comes to infotainment and technology. They've always been one of the leaders in safety. In fact, they have this terrific policy that any of their safety patents are open patents, which means other car companies are free to use them. It's impressive how well the EQE handles bumps and curves and undulations in the road. It's just very finely tuned. And these engineers and designers now have so much more flexibility with what they can do with these vehicles because of this flexible platform. And it's not just flexible, it's shareable. You have these paddles, and they're not true paddle shifters. So when I press this once, it says strong recuperation, and that's the only option in this eco mode. Now I'm going to switch to just sport mode, and now I have different options. Normal, I have no recuperation, normal, and strong. Strong is essentially one pedal driving, so we're going about 27. If I let the accelerator go, the vehicle will come to a complete stop. People ask me about road noise. As you can hear, it's extremely quiet. How about ride comfort? Well, you saw the different settings, but right now we're in the comfort or normal setting, and it's quite comfortable. These seats are wonderful as well. There's a lot going on up front with the all-new EQE, and you see Mercedes-Benz, the TriStar design throughout. As you can see, you have it throughout the grille, you have it inside on the dash. These lights, when you turn the vehicle on and turn it off, I mean, they do an entire dance. We'll show you that a little bit later. Of course, you got, puddle lamps, but that's nothing new with the logo. But what these things are doing, it's pretty it's pretty exciting. There's so much that they can do now with LEDs and with these electric vehicles. And while some people might think it's gimmicky, it seems to be kind of a barrier to entry. And if you don't have it, you'll probably get called out. Plenty of LEDs, plenty of tech, but more importantly, this vehicle just drives wonderfully. It's something I would be more than happy to drive for the next 5 years. Comfortable, roomy, and just has a lot of presence. I think Mercedes is really onto something with their EQ lineup. Not in love with some of the styling on their SUVs, but certainly their sedans are looking very, very sleek. I'm Ron Doran. Thanks for watching. See you next time on The Driver's Seat.